Hey everyone, and welcome back. We are diving into something today that really impacts just about everyone, whether directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
It's the connection between emerging fertility tech and that kind of, that age-old struggle of balancing a career with motherhood.
Right.
And, you've sent over this really fascinating collection of sources for this.
Absolutely.
We've got an article, some pretty compelling graphs, some raw data points, and it really touches on everything, economics and societal trends and some pretty seriously cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, for sure.
So basically what we're going to do in this deep dive is explore the real cost of motherhood. And I don't just mean in dollars.
Right.
But, and how all this new tech might totally rewrite the rules of the game for everyone.
Data on the screen, numbers come alive. Male, female flows where the patterns thrive. Visual charts, public colors unify. Gender decoded, bringing truth to light. Small drum fill. We break it down, real talk. Trends unveiling, facts from every block. Here's your insight, watch the data glide. Gender decoded, let the beats collide.
Today, we are going to be looking at something I know a lot of you are really interested in, the motherhood penalty.
Yeah.
This whole idea that women are facing these setbacks in their careers and their finances after they have kids. And we've got some pretty interesting sources for this deep dive. Data reports, economic analyses, we even have some personal stories from women.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We've made a lot of progress with gender equality and everything, but this gap is still here.
Right.
Women in the U.S. are still only making 84% of what men are making for the same work, which is basically not changed in 20 years.
It's kind of like we're just stuck, huh? 84 cents on the dollar, that's a huge difference.
It is.
And it's not just about the money.
No, it's definitely not just about the money. It's about opportunities.
Right.
So that this gap that we see, it means that less women are reaching the top, CEO positions, leading research projects, positions of power in the government.
Yeah.
So it affects everybody, not just women. We all lose out when we don't have the full talent pool being utilized.
So how does this actually play out in real life? How does this gap actually happen?
Right.
Well, our sources are highlighting something that's kind of shocking. Think about it.
Yeah.
You're climbing that corporate ladder. You're just killing it. You're about to get that promotion. And boom, you have a baby.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden your earning potential just drops dramatically.
Oh, wow.
It's like a 60% decline on average after having a child.
Yeah.
So it's like you're taking this giant leap backward
Yeah.
after you've been working so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, men's earnings, they're pretty much staying the same.
Right.
And maybe even going up a little bit.
Yeah, they see a slight increase.
And so it really highlights, that motherhood is being penalized.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about taking maternity leave either.
Right.
It can really affect a woman's career path for years.
For years, even after they're back at work. And so, then our sources get into this idea of greedy careers.
Yeah.
So these are the fields that, really demand a lot of your time, prioritize those who are, always working. And we're talking law, executive management, research, even founding a startup.
Yeah, and the thing about these types of careers is that if you work less hours,
Yeah.
it doesn't just mean you get paid less.
Right.
It could affect how effective you are in your career
Yeah.
and could even stall your career progression.
So it's not just as easy as I'll work less, I'll get paid less. It's not that simple.
No, it's not.
The system is set up for you to be really dedicated with your time.
Right.
Yeah, if you're a corporate lawyer working on a huge merger, the more hours you put in, the better you're going to understand it. Someone working half the time, it's not going to be the same, even if they're incredibly efficient.
Exactly.
Okay, so then things get a little bit more complicated because while women are trying to climb these career ladders, their biological clocks are ticking. So our data is showing that the chances of conceiving naturally, it starts to go down after 30, and then the risk of miscarriage goes up. And then by 40, a lot of women are dealing with infertility.
Exactly. So it puts women in a really tough position.
Yeah.
Do you prioritize your career now and maybe risk not having a family later? Or do you start a family early and risk limiting your career growth?
It's like a double whammy. You've got the pressure to delay having kids to get ahead, but then if you delay, you have these biological challenges.
Right.
And our sources talk about female doctors.
Yeah.
3/4 of them delayed childbirth, even though they knew the risks, and over a third of them ended up having infertility issues.
It's true. It really shows you that it's not about wanting everything.
Right.
It's about trying to navigate this system
Yeah.
where just being a woman, the biological realities are clashing with what's expected in certain careers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about some of these pretty big challenges, but there are some solutions that are emerging. And our sources are really highlighting the role of technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what? If you could just kind of hit the pause button on your biological clock,
Right.
like even rewind it a little bit.
Yo.
That's what some of these new fertility technologies are trying to do.
Yeah.
It's not about getting rid of the biological realities, but just giving women more control and options.
Yeah, it's almost like science fiction is becoming reality.
It is.
Like egg freezing is becoming really popular.
Yeah.
But our sources are even talking about things that are even further out there.
Right. We're seeing some big advancements in vitro maturation of eggs. So that's where they're matured outside the body.
Wow.
And it could get around some of the age-related decline in egg quality.
Wow.
And there's even research about creating eggs from stem cells,
Wow.
which would be amazing.
So you're saying that having kids in your 40s or even 50s,
Yeah.
that could be like as common as having a dual income household.
Right, exactly.
That's a really different world.
It is. And of course, it's not all about the technology itself.
Right.
We have to think about who has access to it and can people afford it.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that these advancements don't just help a few people.
It should be for everyone.
Right.
And
Yeah.
technology is only one part of it.
Absolutely.
Our sources are saying that we really need to fix these big systemic problems that are causing the motherhood penalty.
Exactly. We can't just expect technology to fix everything.
Right.
We need to change how our workplaces operate, how society views things, the whole way we think about work and family.
So we need to make a world where women can use these really amazing advancements without being judged or penalized.
Right.
Where they can make choices about their families and their careers without feeling like they have to pick one or the other.
Exactly.
Mhm.
You know, we have this traditional model where women are expected to be the primary caregivers, even if they're working full time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work anymore.
It's just not sustainable.
Right.
And that brings us back to those greedy careers.
Yeah.
If we want to see more women at the top,
Yeah.
we have to rethink how those fields are structured.
Right. So how do we make sure that people can have successful careers in those fields without giving up their whole lives?
Yeah.
Is it about making them less greedy, or is it about changing what we think success even means?
Maybe it's about finding that work-life balance
Right.
without sacrificing your ambition or doing great work.
Exactly.
Maybe we should be thinking about success as the impact you make and not just the number of hours you work.
And we should realize that taking time off to be with your family doesn't mean you're not dedicated.
Right.
It might actually make you a better leader.
Yeah, because you learn a lot of skills as a parent.
Exactly, like being able to nurture, empathize, prioritize, delegate.
Yeah.
These are all really important for leaders.
And those are things you learn by being a parent.
Absolutely.
So maybe it's not about women having to fit into the mold,
Uh-huh.
but about changing the mold so it works for everyone.
Yeah. True equality doesn't mean everyone has to be the same. It means having a system that values different ways of being successful, because those paths might look different for men and women, for parents and people without kids.
We need to get rid of those barriers and assumptions about what women should be doing.
Right?
It's about women being able to define success however they want to.
Exactly. And when that happens, society benefits because everyone can reach their full potential.
Yeah. Regardless of gender or whether you have a family.
Right. Where everyone has a chance to do well in their personal life and their work life.
So this is a huge change in how we think about work and family and what it means to be successful.
Yeah, it really feels like a big change is coming, which is really exciting, but kind of scary too. What do you think this world would actually look like with all of these changes?
It's wild to think about. Imagine if women could plan their careers and when to have a family without worrying so much about their biological clock.
Yeah.
Would it make things more fair at work?
Right. Would we see more women in leadership positions, maybe when they're in their 40s and 50s, after their kids are older?
Mm-hmm.
It could definitely happen. Think about all those experienced women taking on leadership roles. It could change the whole culture at companies, how people mentor each other, everything.
It might even change what family means.
Right.
Maybe we'll see all kinds of different families, people having kids later in life, maybe with people they meet later on too.
And what about society as a whole? Would it take some of the pressure off young women who feel like they have to do everything all at once right now?
Yeah.
Maybe caregiving would be more balanced between men and women.
There are just so many possibilities.
Yeah.
It's like looking into a kaleidoscope, seeing all these different ways things could change.
Of course, with big changes like this, there are always going to be some bumps in the road. We have to make sure everyone can afford these new technologies and get access to them.
Right. It shouldn't just be for the wealthy.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
even if everyone can get them, we have to think about our values as a society. Would these technologies really make things more equal, or could they actually make some of the inequalities worse?
It's definitely something we need to think carefully about.
Yeah, we need to have these important conversations and include lots of different viewpoints. We need to make sure we're thinking about the unintended consequences and work together to build a future where things are fair and just for everyone.
I think we've definitely given our listeners a lot to think about today. We've looked at the data, talked about the challenges and possible solutions, and even imagined what the future could hold.
The motherhood penalty is a complex issue, but we can overcome it. Women can have amazing careers and families without having to choose one or the other. And it's going to take empowering women, coming up with new technologies, and changing things as a society to make that happen.
And we want to leave you with this thought. This deep dive was just the start of the conversation. Now it's your turn. What did you find most interesting? What questions do you still have? What kind of future do you want to see?
The future is being shaped right now, and your voice, what you do, the choices you make, they all play a part.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and keep those conversations going.